in high definition. This is CBS 2 News at 6.
Pieces of movie history go up in flames, and a theme park is shut down when a fire breaks out on the Universal Studios backlot. It is our top story here at 6:30 tonight. After 12 hours, the Universal Studios fire has finally been contained, but not before destroying famous movie sets. CBS 2's Serene Branson and Christine Lazar continue our live team coverage in Universal City. Serene, let's begin with you.
Well, Glenn, water was a really big issue out here. Back in the 1990s, there was a fire, and they installed a sprinkler system to a lot of these wooden sets. It actually may have backfired because fire crews had very low water pressure out here today. That meant a 12-hour-long firefight, world-famous sets destroyed, and in the end, 9 firefighters and a sheriff's deputy were all hurt.
One more truck up on the south side, on the Charlie side, to enter from the east.
As the Universal Studios backlot went up in flames, a mushroom cloud of black smoke billowed into the sky, creating a real-life scene that looked more like a clip from one of the many movies shot here.
We had essentially 2 city blocks on fire at the same time.
400 firefighters battled the blaze that broke out at 4:30 this morning. Propane tanks exploded. Flames devoured the famous New York Street set.
Those are basically building fronts with some walls, but they're very susceptible to rapid burning. The fire moved through there. It also burned Courthouse Square, and then it got into the King Kong building, and that building is totally destroyed.
The fire then spread to the studio's video vault. Firefighters worked frantically to salvage hundreds of videos.
The video library was affected and damaged, but our main vault of our motion picture negatives was not. Fortunately, nothing irreplaceable was lost.
We should also point out that 2 of the 8 sets used to film The Ghost Whisperer, a popular CBS show with Jennifer Love Hewitt, were destroyed. No word yet on how production could be affected there. Fire officials here on the scene tell me they will be here all night, all day tomorrow, and still investigating the exact cause of this fire. We're live this evening in Universal City. Serene Branson, CBS 2 News.
Serene, I have a quick question for you. You talked about the firefighters who were injured. How are they doing?
Well, we have been talking to a firefighter out here. He's been giving us updates. We know they were all taken to local hospitals. They were all had minor injuries, so burns, some heat exhaustion, nothing too significant, but still pretty scary out here when you're seeing a lot of ambulances coming in and out. And, you know, firefighters and sheriff's deputies are the ones going out in them, Sharon.
Serene, thank you so much for that. In the meantime, hearing sirens and explosions may not be that unusual for people who live next to the movie studio, but this time it wasn't make-believe. CBS 2's Christine Lazar has that part of our team covered. Christine.
Yes, Sharon, it was very real and it was very scary. Now, fortunately, the park was closed when this fire broke out, so even though park guests were disappointed they couldn't go on the lot today, none of them were ever in danger. But residents who live in Universal City, well, they woke up to quite a scare.
Up and we just heard multiple explosions, and we come up to the fence down here, and it's just the whole place is engulfed in flames. It's like a giant mushroom cloud.
Bob Liptak's first thought was that a plane had crashed in the back lot of Universal Studios, just down the hillside from his home.
It's really dry, and if it came up the hill, I don't think it would be very good.
Firefighters kept the massive flames confined to the back lot, but residents still worried about all the smoke billowing from the fire. Air quality officials were on scene all day to test for possible health hazards caused by this devastating fire.
It's weird to see the make-believe wreckage and then see huge billows of real smoke behind it. It has a very surreal feel. It's kind of creepy.
A now vastly different view of a Southern California landmark that drew these residents to the area.
We love being close to the studio and like being able to look down, especially on this lot, because you can see so much of the set. And it's just scary to come down and see it on fire.
And at this point, park officials say City Walk and Universal Studios will reopen tomorrow at 10 a.m., but that's only if they get the green light from air quality officials who, again, have been here all day long, called in by the fire department just to make sure that there are no health hazards. Live at Universal Studios, I'm Christine Lazar, CBS 2 News.
All right, thank you, Christine. And once again, here's a look at the famous sets that were lost today. New York Street, New England Street, and Courthouse Square from the Back to the Future were all destroyed. So was the King Kong attraction and Universal's video vault. The studio does have backup copies of the 40 to 50,000 tapes that were destroyed. Two sets from the CBS show Ghost Whisperer were damaged in this fire, and so was the Cyclone attraction.
And today's fire is a sequel to the 1990 fire at Universal, and that fire burned many of the same backlot areas, including the New York Street set, much of Courthouse Square, the King Kong exhibit. The 1990 fire was deliberately started by a security guard. He was later sentenced to 4 years in prison. It took several years to rebuild those sets. That rebuilding included an elaborate fire suppression system, which was overwhelmed today, and may have contributed to the water pressure problem firefighters faced. They ran out of the water and had to shuttle more water in to fight that fire.
And stay with CBS 2 for continuing coverage of the Universal Studios fire. We will have the very latest for you tonight on CBS 2 News at 11. You can also track this story on our website,